the League of Independent Theater has created a pro-performing arts platform that directly addresses, and knock on wood, I'd like to hear some knocking on wood, please, might even solve some of these incredibly difficult issues which face each and every one of us as either artists or as members of performing arts organizations that we face every day on a daily basis. So tonight we have an incredible lineup of political talent that have chosen to enter into a further discussion with all of us. You're going to be hearing from Jimmy Van Bramer, who is the chair of the New York City Council's Cultural Affairs Committee. Jimmy has been on the forefront of every fight that is supporting this sector for the last few years, and we are honored to have him here with us. And in terms of coming full circle, the Borough President of Manhattan, Scott Stringer, who gave our keynote address here in this very room 4 years ago, in which he challenged each and every one of us to come up with an agenda or a pro-arts platform, if you will, that our electeds could advocate for. And he is back tonight to speak about the practical implications of making that, turning that into a reality for New York City local politics, and we're very excited to have Scott Stringer with us as well. City council races, all city races, are oftentimes won by a handful of votes. And since the League of Independent Theater, which advocates for the needs of over 50,000 performing artists who vote 86% of the time regularly, we can make a difference. Everyone in this room together, we can make a difference. And thanks to you, we have earned a seat at the proverbial political table. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight, we are taking that seat. And now I want to introduce you to my colleague, my good friend. I work with her on the Manhattan Community Boards. More importantly, this young lady to my right is an incredibly talented playwright. And she has been an absolutely integral part of this political process ever since that night 4 years ago when she was sitting in the audience and was inspired by what transpired that night. And now she is leading the charge, and we couldn't do it without Robin Rothstein.
I'm going to be quick. We did a really long night, or lots of people today. Won't be long. We'll be quick. But I do want to just emphasize that you really can make a difference, as corny as that sounds, and I know that for a fact because 4 years ago I was out there with you. I came to the Community Board Congress's forum at the last minute, really low bar, didn't expect to hear anything new. I thought it was going to be a low turnout, and boy was I surprised when I saw a packed room, very much like this evening, as many of you will remember. It was very full like tonight, and there was one passionate speaker after the next, and I was just floored, and I felt incredibly inspired. But I thought, you know, what could I do? I'm just like David said, I'm a playwright. I'm this little playwright with no power. What can I do? And then, as David mentioned, a speaker that night, Manhattan Borough President Scott Stringer said, you tell us what you need. You need to give us a roadmap. It's in my brain as if it were yesterday. I can't believe it's 4 years ago. So I thought, well, let me see what this community board thing is about. So David Pincus introduced me to somebody on the board that is my area of Manhattan, which is the West Village. I became a public member. A year later, I became appointed, and ever since then, I've been working tirelessly with David, the League of Independent Theater, local electeds and their staff, and other stakeholders in the performing arts to come up with creative solutions to help secure this sector's future, which is often vulnerable, as you know. So tonight, here we are, and now I challenge you to come up here in 4 years and do what I'm doing, because you can make a difference. It's possible. And two people who I want to introduce to you right now who make a huge difference and who made tonight possible are Managing Director Chris Harcum and Executive Director John Clancy of the League of Independent Theater.
Please give Robin and David a big round of applause. Without their knowledge
and their energy and their dedication, this wouldn't have happened. I also want to give a shout out to Guy Yedwab and Katie Palmer for their organizational skills and their exuberance. Yes. And Heather Woodfield from 1% for Culture for being such a necessary ally. When you guys have a chance, check out 1% for Culture. They do really good things. And I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, thank our leader, John Clancy, for calling me up a little while ago and being like, "Hey, Chris, yeah, you think we can maybe get some life out of this League of Independent Theater thing?" And I was like, "We'll see, I don't know." But here we are. And I gotta say, my inner Don Quixote salutes your inner Don Quixote. So, what's gonna happen, Chris? Well, I'm glad you asked. Tonight, we put together an evening of candidates and panels to talk about why the arts are important to New York City's economy, its character, and its future, and what they plan to do to make it less of a nightmare for independent theater artists to make our work. So, we have 4 panels tonight, and in those panels we have 6 head-to-heads, so it should get interesting. And you can see them listed on your handout. So right there you can say, oh look, there's a public advocate and a public advocate. Yep, they're going to be doing that stuff. And then on the other side of that handout is our performing arts platform, what they were talking about. And that's going to be front and center in the discussions tonight. So, we are here to listen to the candidates and to learn from them. And the candidates are here to learn from the smart, tenacious, hardworking, entrepreneurial, resourceful, creative, well-trained, performance-ready, educated, local business-using, social media savvy, independent theater artists that are in the room tonight. So, to that end, yes, please silence your ringers, but tweet your faces off at Indie Theater NYC #LitForum. And then hopefully some of the candidates will stick around afterwards to meet us down at the bar, which will be open till 11:15 p.m., credit cards only. Now, the ground rules for tonight. Paul Nagel has generously given his time to moderate this event. In each panel, the candidates will get an opening question based on one plank of the performing arts platform with 2 minutes to respond. Then they're going to be given another question after that they haven't been told about in advance, and they'll get another 2 minutes to respond. Then there's going to be a series of yes or no questions, or Paul will take things in a direction depending on how each panel is going, up to his discretion. The candidates will then have time to wrap up before the end of each panel. So each panel is going to last about 30 minutes. So to keep things on schedule, the mighty Heather Olmsted, stage manager extraordinaire, is going to make this sound when we get 30 seconds out for the end of their time. And then, when they're out of time, she's going to make this sound. Because if there's one thing that would ruin a night like this, would be somebody going on and on and on because they didn't know when to stop speaking, and they just didn't ever figure out how to just kind of... All right.
Quickly, Chris told you what's going to happen tonight. I'm going to give you a sense of what's going to happen going forward, which is you, the members of the league, are going to vote for an endorsement in these races. Not every single race will be endorsed by April 2nd, I think we said. We may need some more time you may need some more time to get to know these people. However, if you are not a member of the League of Independent Theater, you don't get a vote. If you're out there and you're pretty sure you're a member, you're certain you're a member, but you don't seem to get in our emails, you're not a member. Go online, litany.org. It's free. It takes about 4 minutes. If you're a member, you get a vote. That vote will then go to the Political Research Outreach Committee. We'll suss it out. We'll take it to the board. We're going to endorse. Now, endorsement is 3 things that these candidates really care about. 3 things. Obviously, we're going to let everyone in the world know that we've endorsed that this is a pro-arts candidate, and we're not afraid to be loud. We're not afraid to be vocal. Secondly, we're going to do a little fundraiser, maybe throw a little money at these guys. That's kind of a nice thing. Most importantly, folks, boots on the ground. That's what matters. That's what matters. Numbers, boots on the ground, not just election day. and not just before Election Day. But we are theater people. We are not afraid to knock on doors. We're not afraid to stand there. And if one of these candidates takes these planks, this platform, and will fight for it, then we are going to fight for them. Yeah? All right, folks. So you've probably all heard me speak a lot and a lot and a lot. So I'm going to introduce somebody else who speaks a lot and a lot and a lot. Is Jimmy here?
Yes.
Great. I'm going to introduce someone. I'm going to get his title wrong. He is an incredible advocate for the arts. He is Jimmy Van Bramer. He is the counsel for the city of the council for the culture of the chair of the library. So here we go. Jimmy Van Bramer.
That was great. I have no idea what he just said. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who's here today. You're going to hear from a number of candidates. I'm sure they're going to be mesmerizing and really terrific. But more to the point, I want to thank all of you who are here, recognizing the power that's in this room, the power of artists, the power of the cultural community in New York City. If we had every person who cared about culture, every person who cared about independent theater, everybody who loved artists and anyone who's creating art get active in the political process, we would have a lot more elected officials who, like me, believe that you drive the city of New York. Yes. You are responsible for so many of the good things that happen in the city of New York, and without the cultural community, New York City would be a barren place. But all of you are so used to being funny and creative and clever and doing so much great work and being involved in the art that sometimes we're not as active in the political process as we need to be. And I know that the person I'm about to introduce, an amazing, amazing leader, came up with this idea years ago, but I have always long believed that just as candidates who are running for office get asked about the environment and LGBT civil rights, they should be asked what their platform is on culture and the arts. Yes. Do you support this community? Yes. And how will you support this community? And do you know the issues that are faced by this community? It is my honor and privilege to serve as the chair of the Cultural Affairs Committee of the New York City Council. But it is even more exciting to know that as a result of events like this, there might be more people joining the City Council who believe, like I do, that we need to do more for this community. And that only happens is if you put people's feet to the fire and you let us know what's important, what needs to be done, and then you get commitments before people take office that they're going to deliver. I think that's really, really critical. And then once you endorse, once you support, you make sure that everybody knows the cultural community delivered for you. The cultural community is your district. Everything matters, and all of you are going to make sure that we have a better city council, great borough presidents, great citywide elected leaders who are going to support all of us in the work that we're doing to keep this incredible city thriving and keep New York City the cultural capital of the world. So it's great to be here. It's great to see something like this happening. It's going to be very, very exciting. But few things could be exciting as hearing from Manhattan Borough President Scott Stringer. Not yet. Not yet. I asked him what he wanted me to say, and he said, just make it all up. So some of you know, maybe you don't know, but I was married last year. Thank you very much. I became the first openly gay elected official to get married outside of the borough of Manhattan. But what you may not know is that I married Scott Stringer. That's news to his wife and my husband, too. Yes. His wife is currently about to have your second baby, I believe. The times they are changing. He is a great elected official, and I have to say, I always say what you want in government are smart people who work really hard, who have a really good compass in terms of knowing what's right and what's wrong. I would add to that someone who believes and is going to fight for the cultural community in the city of New York. I believe Scott Stringer represents all of those things. He is constantly in Queens, constantly in my district. And I mean that in the most loving way, Scott. He is tenacious, he is tireless. He's had an amazing career already, and he is only going on to do even more incredible things, having already served in the state assembly with great distinction, having been the Manhattan Borough president for the last 8 years, and some of you may know that he is currently running to be the controller of the city of New York, and I believe he is currently unopposed in that race. So now is the time to really push him on culture and the arts. I'm sure he's not going to stop there. I believe he's a good friend of our community, and I look forward to serving with him for many years. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my husband, your borough president, Scott Stringer.
Jimmy, I don't go to Queens on the controller thing. You know? I'm not going to have this long-distance relationship between Manhattan and Queens, so I wanted to tell you that. But let's give a big round of applause to the chair of the Public Affairs Committee. Very funny, and yes, you know, I have a 15-month-old son, Max, and my wife, we're expecting in June, and I'm 52 years old. Wow. So I know some of you are thinking not bad, right? So yeah, I'm a little tired, but it's okay. But let me start. I want to hear from the candidates, so I'm not going to speak for a long time. But I do want to say thank you to David Pincus, Chris Harcum, John Clancy, and of course Robin Rothstein, because 4 years ago when we all got together and we talked about independent theater, we talked about New York being this amazing magnet city. People from all over the world need to come here. Some people flee persecution. Other people are sitting in places like the Midwest, and they're turning on the television or on their computers, and they're saying, I've got to get out of where I am, and I got to come to the cultural mecca of the world. I want to see the arts in all its different forms. I want to see independent theater. I want to have that experience we New Yorkers have when we find the special performance as we navigate down these stairs, winding staircases, in these little small rooms, and then magic happens, right? And people want that, and that's why we have 52 million tourists. But what's amazing is for all of our culture and excitement and independent theaters and different art forms happening every night in all 5 boroughs, the city government doesn't recognize that we have to nurture this cultural opportunity. We have to build upon it. We have to have elected officials who get it, right? It doesn't happen. Every growing neighborhood starts when the artists arrive. Doesn't matter where it is. When the young entrepreneurial artist gets into a community, the community grows because everyone wants to live around the people who are the creative folks. And we now have a creative economy. And I am so proud of David and everybody, because the truth is, this is our moment in 2013. The government is changing. A new mayor, I think Bloomberg's not running. Maybe premature, but a new mayor, a new public advocate, new controller, new borough president, whole new city council for the most part, new speaker. The government's changing. And if it's going to change, we must have a say in how it changes. And this idea that we all collectively, I'm getting too much credit for this, came together and said, look, let's organize politically. Let's create a platform. Let's hold the candidates accountable. Let's educate the ones that need some pushing, and let's also enhance the ones who have been allies of us for many, many years. That's why we're all here tonight. This is a very important meeting. This is a meeting that basically draws a line in the sand. We're going to have conversations about education, affordable housing. We're going to talk about healthcare, but you know what? We're going to talk about the cultural future of this city. And we're not only going to think about the big guns, but we're going to recognize the special sauce of the city. The people who start out in a little show, in a maybe just a gymnasium or a local school, and transforms a community and New York. That is what this night to me is all about. And I also think that as we go forward, I love what John said, because this is not just about having auditions, right? And no one gets the part. Someone's gonna get the part, right? Right? And when you get the part and you get approval from all of you, you're right, what do? You get a contract, you get some money, you get some troops, you get out into the streets, you get that rubber stamp that says, I'm the real candidate of culture and independent theaters, and I am somebody you can take to the voting booth with you. That is what this is all about tonight. I think it's great that candidates are coming here. I couldn't believe the list of folks who are here, but I'm very proud that we took something and made it political, because, by the way, government is formed by political expression and by voters. And the voting population in the city, the people going to the polls are going down. Look at the LA's mayor's race. 21% of the people voted in LA, one of the hottest mayoral races out there. We didn't really come out and vote in 2009. That's why we get frustrated when people don't see it our ways. So everybody in the arts and theater should get out, register, and participate. And by the way, you're not just about arts and theater. You do care about the kids in this city, right? Think about it. Whether it's your kids, my kids, somebody else's kids, kids we're never going to meet. Arts and culture in the classroom, educating kids, getting them to understand that they too have this amazing talent. We've got to nurture them, because if they're in dance class, they're not out in the streets, right? If they're in their play, they're not going to have run-in with the police. So this is not just about all of you in this room. It's about the next generation of New Yorkers. And that's why what's at stake here is so important. So listen to these candidates. I know a lot about them. They're all very good. They want to do the right thing. But you've got to hear their agenda. And then let's go out there this summer and let's wage a campaign on these kind of issues and understand what's at stake. If we do that, then we'll have a government in 2014 that will work with us, not against us. And if that happens, then meetings like this and the work that we've done organizing them will have been well worth it. I'm very proud to be here. Now listen to these candidates. Stay all night and let the show begin.